of yesteryear. We happen to be on Hey Cheshvan, that's the 5th of Cheshvan. It's going to mark the Hilula of a really great rabbi, Moroccan rabbi, Rabbi Avraham Dahan, Zecher Tzadik Libracha, great rabbi of his time. He was actually born on the 8th of Tevet back in 1915, 110 years ago. He passed away about 16 years ago in 2009 on the 5th of Cheshvan. He was a great rabbi of his time, and he came from great heritage. His father's name was Rabbi Meir Dahan. I think we've spoken about him on various occasions before here inside this series. Remember, we've spoken about probably already on this series about a good at least 150 rabbis that were actually from let's just say those various vicinities of Morocco, all throughout the different points in time. So very, very interesting and very great rabbi. So we'll come Rabbi Meir Dahan. I think we actually spoke about him, and I think it's very, very important that we explore the history, do maybe a special video on the Moroccan Jewry in of itself. That's another project that we're working on at the moment, is to explore what went on in all the different countries all over, especially North Africa, Ottoman places, let's just say, in of itself, and so on and so forth. So that'll be definitely a very, very important project for us to do. Okay, so he came from, so his father was Rabbi Meir Dahan, and his mother's name, I believe, was Isa. I happen to be. And he was born in the village of Asamar, I believe. That's in the Ayit Boloi area, in I think by the mountains of the Atlas in Morocco. Now, it's actually interesting. The family Dahan itself, I believe, actually come from King David. There's this, and I think from the Roshei Tevot of the name itself, Dahan, respectively, Ani David HaMelech Asher Nim Shachti. This is actually the phrase actually given over. Now, we actually did record some, I think, a few videos at one stage in time on various different great rabbis from the Dahhan rabbinic dynasty over here in this series. Which, if you look at the stories of Tzaddikim section here on our website, here on our channel, you will see various different rabbis that actually had the last name Dahan inside it. I think we recorded already a video, I'm not sure if they were connected directly or not, on Rabbi Mishael Dahan. I think it was quite recently, about a month ago, and Rabbi Yaakov Dahan we recorded just right at the end of 2024 respectively. So that's very interesting. I think, I'm not too sure how they were connected, but I know that Rabbi Mishael Dahan was a chief rabbi in Beersheba at one stage in time, I think more recent years. And Rabbi Yaakov Dahan himself was another great rabbi that was in Marrakesh. So, will be interesting to know if they were connected or not, or how they were elected. But as we stated various occasions before, they do have a lineage from King David. Okay, now I think it was when he was 14 years of age, come with the year 1929 it was, Rabbi Avraham Dahan would actually travel to the great city of Marrakesh at that point in time, and would learn under the auspices of great rabbis, including Rabbi Makhluf Abu Chatzera and other great rabbis. Now, Rabbi Makhluf Abu Chatzera is no stranger to this series. We've recorded about him on various occasions before. He himself, I think, was born in the year 1895 and passed away in 1980. He was a Dayan, a judge. Rabbi Makhluf Abu Chatzera, he was the head of Jewish court in Marrakesh. So remember, we're talking about a really, really important rabbi over there at that stage in time. Let's just say something about Rabbi Makhluf for a minute, now that we're on the subject within regards to him. He actually happened to be from the famous Abu Chatzera family, born in Tafit Lalat in Morocco. I think it's actually interesting. I think his father's name was Rabbi Eliyahu Abu Chatzera, and very much connected to Aaron Abu Chatzera and the famous Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzera. So you can see the greatness of the family, the Abu Chatzera family, and they were very much connected to the Baba Sali also. Now, it's actually interesting. He would actually learn under auspices, I think, with Rabbi Yechia Dahan. I think maybe probably connected to the rabbi we happen to be speaking about today over here, about Rabbi Avraham Dahan, because they also were there. And he was at a point in time, there was many, many great rabbis that were, let's just say, in the Moroccan vicinities. I think it was quite close to another famous rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, Rabbi Mordechai Korkos, who was also head of Jewish court in Marrakesh. So remember, as Rav Dahan would actually come to Marrakesh, he was surrounded by many, many of the great, let's just say, Moroccan rabbis in of itself, respectively. It's interesting, Rabbi Makhluf Abu Chatzera didn't just have Rabbi Avraham Dahan as a Talmid. He had great rabbis. Let's just say, including Rabbi Shimon Biton, who would later on become the chief rabbi of Bet Shemesh. Also, Rabbi Yechia ben Harosh, another rabbi we've spoken about before on various occasions before. I think we recorded a video about him and in Knitra, if I'm not mistaken. And he was in a generation at time of Rabbi Mordechai Kos, Rabbi Yisrael Abu Chatzeret, Baba Sali, and Rabbi Rachamim ben Amara, very, very great rabbis, and also Rabbi Machluch Abu Chatzera authored many great Torah works, especially on the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. That's one thing that we have to point out over here. He would author a important work on Halacha, on Agada. I think among the works was the Yafeh Sha'ah, the Ma'ayin Yavo, the Kilat Yaakov, and the Michlal Yafeh, variously and respectively. Also, so that this is something very, very important that has to be stressed within regards to, let's just say, his brilliance in of itself. So very, very important. And friends, over here, anyone tuning in at the moment, we're exploring a bit with regards, because it happens to be the Hilula this week of great Moroccan rabbi here on the 5th of Heshvan, Rabbi Avraham Dahan, who had great lineage from King David, the Dahhan family in himself, rabbinic dynasty in himself. So if anyone's new on the channel at the moment and you happen to be watching this video at the moment, please subscribe to this channel. We are recording full of Jewish history videos and great content over here and tours all over itself. So if you're a guest here, you're new on the channel, please subscribe to our community. The channel is for free, and there's so much let's just say in of itself, we've got so much great content for you fantastic people out there. So today we're speaking about a great Moroccan rabbi that we actually learn in Marrakesh in his day, and rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before here inside this series. Okay, so we're talking about Rabbi Avraham Dahan. So he would eventually he was the Talmid of Rabbi Machluch Abu Chatzera. He would go to Marrakesh specifically to learn about him. Also, it's actually interesting, at that point in time he would learn the trade, let's just say, we don't want to call it a trade because it's something so kadosh, to perform Brit Milah circumcisions, that would be one thing, and to become a shochet, a rabbi that will perform kosher slaughtering. So those were important things, and many people at that point in time would, great rabbis would be very hands-on all over different importances in Jewish, let's say, life cycle in of itself, these things. Now, in the year 1935, he was about 20 years of age. He would get married to his wife, Rabbanit Sada, I believe. She came from the Azrad family, if I'm not mistaken. I think sadly she did pass away. It says over here. I'll say what it says actually using the Hayami website over here. בגיל 20 חכם אברהם דהן נשא לאישה את סעדה לבית עזרד, אך היא נפטרה ולא נולדה להם ילדים. Unfortunately, they didn't have any children. And I think come 1947, he was 32 years of age. He would get married to Rabbanit Zohara, and I think it's actually reported over. I'll say what the Hayami website says over here. בגיל 32 נשא לאישה את זוהרה, אחותה של אשתו הראשונה. That's what's stated over. I think she was the sister of his first wife. And then Avraham Dahan would continue to work now as a shochet and a mohel. He would perform kosher slaughter and Brit Milah circumcisions. וגם קולו הערב עמד לו לשמש כחזן וכקורא בתורה. He was a rabbi that would become a cantor in the synagogue, a chazan in the Beit Knesset, and will also read by the Torah. אך סירב לקבל שכר מצוות אלו. לפרנסתה היה מלמד תורה את ילדי ישראל. He wouldn't, reported over here, not take a salary for all the important works he was doing inside the synagogue. He would teach children Torah. He would, I don't know if it was privately or in school system or in yeshiva system in of itself. והיה מכיתת רגליו בית תלמודי תורה שהיו פזורים בכפרים באזור שבו גר לימים. חכם אברהם דהן התמנה לרב הכפר אמר, הכפר בו נולד וגדל. So it's interesting. So we teach, I think, in schools, various students Torah. Eventually, he would actually go back to his place of origin, to the village of Asamar, and become the rabbi of this village. A very prominent position it was at that stage in time. And much more can be said. I think come with the year 1956, there was obviously that desire to move to Eretz Israel. There was waves of aliyah, people moving from Morocco to the land of Israel. And I think with his congregation at that point in time, especially from his villages, let's say, of itself, and various other places, many people from Morocco were moving at that point in time. It says over למרות שחלקם התפזרו למקומות שונים, שמע על קשרים בין המשפחות, והמשיך להנהיגם גם בארץ. So he would be in contact with other people despite people coming and moving to new places as Israel came about, the new formerly state. He would actually dwell in the מושב. החכם אברהם דהן התיישב במושב מלאה בחבל התענכה וכיהן כרב Moshav. So he would be appointed the rabbi of this Moshav, respectively, over here. So that was already, remember at that point in time, many of the great rabbis will already get important positions, let's just say, in of itself, when they came to Eretz Israel. So he would now become a rabbi of this Moshav in Israel. But I think many of the people that were from his community would actually move to various other places at that stage in time in Israel. So not everyone would come inside the same place, but he would keep in contact with the people at that point in time, people that would scatter, let's say, to different communities. I think the Moshav he would become the rabbi of was Moshav Ma'ala, if I'm not mistaken, Hanach region, respectively. So this was a prominent position, an important position also at that point in time, at a transformative place, especially time period for the community, but very wonderful time period because they came to Eretz Israel. בפועל שימש גם כרב המושבים, הסמוכים will also become the rabbi of the moshavs quite close by, גדיש וניר יפה, respectively. חכם אברהם דהן דאג לחינוך הילדים ולהקמת בית ספר המתאים לרוח המשפחות. He would set up a school system. He was very, very worried about the, let's say, spiritual state of the families and the children, respectively the education they would have. So he would set up a school, I believe, at that point in time, to cater for the spiritual importances for those families and the children. כרב המושב נסב בעול יחד עם כל בני הקהילתו בנטיעת עצים, and they would plant a lot of trees over there, respectively, בחבירת העולות במסגרת הקמת ישראל. So very, very interesting. They'll be taking on various different undertakings when they came over there. The community even of itself would come together, they would plant trees, they digged canals, and they actually worked within the framework of the famous Keren Kayemet Yisrael, which we've spoken about on various occasions over here in this series, and they did many, many different, let's say, importances at that stage in time, the Keren Kayemet Yisrael would do. Now, I think he was approximately, if I'm not mistaken, about 94 years of age when he passed away. It says, חכם אברהם דהן, זקן ושבע ימים, השיב את נשמתו לבוראו ביום ה' חשוון, בשנת תשס"ט, in the year 2009, I believe, on the 5th of חשוון. כאות הוא קרא לפעולתו רב השנים. קראו בני קהילתו את בית כנסת ביישוב מלאה על שמו מגן אברהם. So they would, in this moshav, afterwards to perpetuate his memory, would actually name a synagogue after him called the Magen Avraham, the shield of Abraham, in that place. Now he wrote, I think, various different chiburim, let's just say, books, and I think the one that stands out is Zichronot Avram, which entails and encompasses, let's just say, various different chidushim and teachings over there. I think it's available and in shops and so on and so forth. I think it's basically chidushim, teachings on the Tanakh, drashot, various sermons connected to festivals and joyous times in itself, and encompasses not just Torah Nevi'im and Ketuvim, also the Talmud Bavli itself. So very, very important book, and it's available on any places. Yeah, friends, if anyone is tuning in for the first time onto the channel, we're a community here. We're learning about great rabbis of yesteryear over here, so I hope you're enjoying this content. Let's explore a few of the highlights from the great rabbi's book. Once again, using the Haimi website as a source over here. One of the teachings from the Zichronot Avram, I think where it's concentrated on Parshat Vayechi, pages 104, 105, it's stated over, Melamed Shemidat HaTzadikim Listakel Al HaTzad HaTov Sheba'adam. It's important, like, characteristic traits with regards to the character of someone righteous, with regards to how one should look at the good inside person. Another teaching he gives over, I believe this actually in of itself comes from, if I'm not mistaken, a drasha from the festival of Shavuot. I think on Amud 369 he will actually teach over another chidush over here. So let's explore what this is actually saying. It says, Mevi Ramazim Matorah or Matihilim Noagim b'machalei chalab b'Shavuot. With regards to milk, we know that one of the customs on the Jewish festival of Shavuot is to have milky products over there. And he actually talks with regards to connection to David Melech. And remember, we said the Dahhan family descend themselves from David, King David. In page 140 of the Zichronot Avram, he teaches Melamed Hashvayavan Shebikesh David Lo Lishkoach Hatzdaka Elo L'Dia La'ashir. This is another important teaching I believe he's got. And another one the Haimi website gives as a resource, I think on the 365th Hotzad Mishpacha, in the Zichronot Avram, he teaches Melamed Bnei HaTorah Shelo Lebetel Acherim Adraba Achriotam Lelamdam. the importance of teaching Torah, especially for educators. Two more teachings over here. The first of the last two ones I wanted to give was the 392nd, I think, page, talking about Brit Milah, circumcision. Remember, we said he was a mohel and a shochet from the outset. He teaches melamed shechinuch hayeled mevi lechizuk ulehatva b'maaseh hahorim. The importance of education with regards to children and strengthening in of itself. And one last teaching, melamed gadol hashalom she'ein haolam mitnaheg ela al pi hashalom. The way of the world really is to let's just say this is actually used from Parshat Pinchas, his teaching, I think page 233. He says that how important peace is in this world in of itself, how important it is, and just within regards to the realms and from a Torah perspective, how important it happens to be. So that's very, very interesting. He was a great rabbi of his time, and we've spoken about various great rabbis from Dahan family. It was also known, the family, as Dahan family also. So I think we have to stress out the name could also be so. There was actually different ways. Anyone that's new to the channel at the moment and you've just joined us on this live video, please subscribe to the channel. We've got fantastic content over here. We do tours all over Israel. We are speaking like an encyclopedia, exploring the history of great rabbis that were from yesteryear, from all over North African countries, let's say from the Spanish countries, Ottoman countries respectively, and all these various different places. And we've spoken about various different great rabbis that actually hailed from Marrakesh already. We're going to try and explore that in a minute, especially Rabbi Chatzer. We spoke about Rabbi Machluf Abu Chatzer and important rabbis that were at his stage in time. We're speaking today about Rabbi Avraham Dahan. He was a rabbi of a village in Morocco, and took on various different, let's just say, importances in of itself, and would actually come to Eretz Yisrael and will have important roles. He'll become the rabbi of Moshav over there. He would become the Rav of Moshav, and really do on various different importances in of itself all throughout Israel and also all throughout Marrakesh over here. So we've already recorded about 1,350 videos of great rabbis of yesteryear here on this series. I want to speak about a few of the rabbis that actually came from Marrakesh in of itself. So please, anyone that's just joined us in today, please subscribe to the channel and enjoy the fantastic content that we've got over here. So we spoke about Rabbi Machluf Abu Chatzer already today, which is very, very important to another great rabbi of Marrakesh of his time. But which other great rabbis were there from Marrakesh? Because we know that there was so many of yesteryear over there that hailed from there. So let's speak about a few of them, because I think it's an opportune time. I think we spoke about it, but arguably you could say the most rabbis that came from one locale in Morocco were from places like Meknes, or were from Marrakesh, respectively, this place, and Fes also. So among the rabbis include Rabbi Yitzchak Koriot Harishon. He was a great Kabbalist. He was from Marrakesh. Rabbi Meir de Loya, I think, was a famous Darshan. He was a Parshan. He was from Makray at Dahyan in Marrakesh, I think in the 1600s, 17th century, if I'm not mistaken. Rabbi Yitzchak de Loya, and the great Rabbi Shlomo Amar Marrakesh, or to give his full title, Rabbi Shlomo ben Avram Amor. He was the head of Jewish court in Rosh Yeshiva in Marrakesh, respectively. Friends, we're talking about Marrakesh over here because we happen to be speaking about Rabbi Avraham Dahan, who actually was a great rabbi in Marrakesh who would study there. So I thought it was an opportune time to speak about the other rabbis that would actually come from that specific place in of itself. Rabbi Avraham Azuleh was another great rabbi from the 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. He was a head of Jewish court and the rabbi of Marrakesh, respectively. Another great rabbi was Rabbi Yosef Os Adon. I think we've spoken about more Sadon, respectively. He was also head of Jewish court and the rabbi of Marrakesh in his day. Rabbi David ben Ma'aman, another posek halacha and head of Jewish court. Rabbi Yaakov Pinto, from the famous Pinto rabbinic dynasty, was a Rosh Yeshivat Mekubalim and was head of Jewish court in Marrakesh, and was author of the Mikdash Melech, a great book on the Zohar. Another rabbi who mentioned about before, who was very close, I think, to Rabbi Machluf Abu Chatzer, who probably taught, I would assume, possibly he would have taught the great Rabbi Avraham Dahan. Rabbi Avram Korkos, who was a famous posek halacha, once again head of Jewish court and rabbi in Marrakesh. Rabbi Yitzchak Charush, another great rabbi, head of Jewish court, rabbi in Marrakesh in his time period. Rabbi Avraham Pinto, once again from the famous rabbinic dynasty of the Pinto family, was the author of various great books on the Talmud and the Code of Jewish Law and head of Jewish court. Rabbi Shlomo Asbag, another great rabbi, Kabbalist once again. Over here, we're speaking about a lot of great Mekubalim from yesteryear here on today's special edition over here. And he very much happened to have been another one over here. That's what we also have to point out. And other great rabbis from Marrakesh that we should point out also here today include over here, anyone that's tuning in, we're exploring about the history of Marrakesh, as well as Rabbi Avraham Dahan, another great rabbi of yesteryear. So anyone that's tuning in, welcome to our community over here. And don't forget to please subscribe to the channel. That's just a quick favor I'm asking all of you fantastic people over here. So exploring some of the rabbis of Marrakesh. Another one was Rabbi Musa ben David Vachayon, another Kabbalist. He was around 1900s. He was I think Rosh Yeshiva and a Dayan. Rabbi Shlomo Oznakot, another Kabbalist, Rosh Yeshiva, Dayan in Marrakesh in his time. I think more now we're going to the 1900s. Rabbi Moshe Asbag, Posek Halacha, Rosh Yeshiva once again. In 1900s, Rabbi Avram Pinto HaKatan, also nicknamed, because there was an older, let's just say a previous rabbi. He came from the rabbinic dynasty of the Pinto family, family full of rabbis. The famous Rabbi Moshe Rozila Harishon. He was a Dayan in the city, and the great rabbis, and I think part of the yeshiva of Rabbi Abraham Azileh. We have to point out also. I was pointed that rabbi of the city. I think he was back in the 1900s, and they were actually, I think, descended. They were from family that were expelled from Spain. Back around in the end of the 1400s, and had the famous book, Kol Mevaser, if I'm not mistaken, on the Talmud. Now, the great rabbi that actually hailed from Marrakesh was Rabbi David Chaim Tzabach, another great Kabbalist, a posek in his time. We have to point out also, you can see really the greatness of many of the rabbis at that stage in time. So he was also a posek, just a brilliance that actually emerged was actually second to none over there. So that's very interesting. So more rabbis that we could say that came from the famous Torah place of Marrakesh. Maybe now we're going to more recent time periods. Is Rabbi Masud Ibn Mocha, a famous Kabbalist, head of Jewish court. Rabbi Elazar Chazan. Remember, these rabbis, many of them were about at the time period of Rabbi Avraham Dahan. Rabbi Elazar Chazan was a rabbi of Marrakesh and Rosh Yeshiva. Rabbi Yaakov Bitan, or to give his full title, Rabbi Shmuel Yaakov Bitan, who was a famous darshan, a Rosh Yeshiva, Dayan, a posek of halacha, and Rabbi Shlomo Asbag Hashemi. Remember, there was rabbinic dynasties that would name after, and he was towards, I think, the start of 2000. Rabbi Mordechai Tatzafati, Rabbi Raphael Yosef ben Harush, who was a darshan, a posek halacha of his time. He lived between 1812 to 1898, we have to point out. So Rabbi Dahan was born about 17 years after him. Rabbi Shlomo ibn Chayyim, another famous darshan, a Payatan from Marrakesh. He was really the rabbi of Marrakesh in his time. He's a rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. He passed away in 1926, so Rabbi Dahan would have been about 11 years of age at the time period he passed away. He was a key figure in Marrakesh in his day. He was author of various different books. He gave Haskamot, I believe, to many books. Also, we have to point out Rabbi David Shlush from the famous Shlush rabbinic dynasty. He passed away himself in 1892. He was born in 1803. Rosh Yeshiva, the rabbi of Marrakesh of his time period in Morocco, and he was nicknamed the Hamelech HaDavid. So friends, I'm going to have to cut this short at the moment, this video over here. Please everyone subscribe to the channel, join our community, and have a great day. And thanks for watching. Subscribe everyone and have a great day. Thank you for watching.